famous role model, because I'm a guy, I want to be in the first time this one. So, of course, it's not attractive as a profession, because there's no glamorous aspect to it. But on the other hand, you have these few professions, so a lot of young kids want to be athletes, right? Because they look at these stars, even though the vast majority of players are not now. Or girls, they want to be models. And of course, it's very gendered.
Yeah.
Right.
That's a good
how many men say, oh yeah, I want to be a model? Right?
Yeah, no one really says that. Do you think that's kind of like a product of media?
Of course, it is a product of the culture in general and how we see women, where, you know, physical attributes are more valued. But on the other hand, if you did that study with boys, you would find a lot of who want to be athletes.
Yeah.
Because physical strength and prowess is more masculine.
I know, that's what I wanted to do when I was 7 years old.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you think kind of like television, music, or do you think either one has more of a bigger impact or pull on it?
It's kind of the same at this point.
Uh-huh.
And actually, I would say television less than it used to, because again, in the 60s with television, pretty much nothing else.
Yeah.
Not anymore. Now you can catch everything, you know, on the computer, etc.
Uh-huh.
So actually, the place of television as a medium is much less than it used to be. And it's non-interactive. Why would you pick a medium that's not interactive and you just have to sit and watch, as opposed to something where you can interact with a bunch of people, you know, whether you're not, but you're more participant in what happens?
Yeah. So internet's kind of like surpassed music and television.
Yeah, and even the internet has changed so much since it started. Now, again, you have Netflix putting out TV shows and everything, where you get to pick. Actually, Amazon.com let it, you know, people who purchase stuff in Amazon, we got to pick which pilots they would develop. So now we have a choice, and yeah, they put online a whole bunch of pilots, and then we got to vote and pick, you know, which ones. So and they would develop those. I don't know if you, and same deal, Netflix, when they put out, you know, Orange is the New Black, big show that was never on TV. So there's a lot more competition to television now than at any other point in the history of the media. So the media influence is so complicated.
Yeah.
First of all, because the field itself is changing so fast and so much.
Yeah.
Right? In the 30s, it was the radio. That was the big medium. And then in the 50s, you had television. And then, you know, black and white and color. But every time, you need to be careful, because every time a new medium comes out, you're going to have prophets of doom that are going to tell you, this medium is going to be the ruin of society. Yeah. People are not going to talk to each other anymore. And they said it's about the radio, right? We're not going to talk to each other anymore because everybody would be listening to radio. And then we were not going to talk to each other anymore because everybody would be watching TV. And so we're not going to talk to each other anymore because we're all going to be on the internet doing different things. And it never really happened. So again, beware the prophecies of doom every time a new medium comes out.
So your personal belief is basically that as technology continues to, I guess, evolve, nothing's really going to change from when it first
Some stuff changes, but it's not going to be the end of the world.
Uh-huh.
No. You know, actually, with the internet, you can actually have more social interaction than we did before.
Yeah.
You know, most of my family doesn't live in this country. It's way easier for me to Skype them, and it's way cheaper than the old-fashioned long-distance phone calls, which are super expensive.
Yeah.
And before that, you had nothing. You had to write letters, and that would take weeks to go back and forth. So actually, news media also allow us to interact more than we ever did at any other point.
Yeah.
So that's a positive impact, unless you want to argue that we should interact less.
Yeah.
But the whole idea, we're not talking to each other. We're talking to each other. We're talking to each other in different formats than we used to.
Yeah.
But we're still talking to each other.
Mm-hmm. And from what you've seen overseas, I guess like in France, is it an international phenomenon, or is that just kind of like a home-based phenomenon here, where we believe that that increase in technology will create less sociable people?
That's always the fear, and again, it doesn't really happen. Mm-hmm. And again, most Western countries have the same amount of technology available as the United States. Actually, there are more internet users in some countries, where because the internet and high-speed internet is way cheaper than it is here, so there are actually more access and more ways to use the medium.
Yeah. Yeah, I read somewhere that the people who watch, the country that watches YouTube the most, I believe, is Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, that's not surprising. Yeah,
especially with the kind of culture that they have, the traditional culture. You know, people were
but you would think people with such a traditional culture would be totally averse to that kind of new technology. And no, they embrace it, they reshape it, they do what they want with it. Again, a lot of different cultures, you know, a medium is just a medium. Then it gets absorbed in culture and reshaped and reconfigured, and people find uses for that.
Yeah. So the internet today is basically like a newspaper
Yeah, and actually, yeah, more and more news actually we get now from the internet
Yeah.
than we did before.
And do you know of any other more studies that were done, kind of like to actually dip below the surface, or is it first?
It's still a work in progress, because again, it's so new. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff that's being done already, and looking at, how do we interact using these new media? And again, the idea is, so far the verdict is, actually, we're going to interact more. But we interact differently, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So personally, where do you see us going from here in the next 20 to 30 years?
What we're going to see is a lot more portable technology, like Google Glasses, etc.
Yeah.
That means the idea that we're always going to be on, connected to something.
How do you feel about that?
Well, it should be interesting because, again, the whole privacy debate is, it's both a sociological question, it's a moral question, it's an ethical question. Do we have any? Should we have any? Is it worth fighting for, or should we say, oh, the heck with it? Might as well be on all the time. And
Yeah.
so, and again, those issues have not been sorted out yet, either in the law or even in the general culture. We're still finding them there. Okay, who should have privacy, or will privacy become kind of a privilege? That is, people who can afford it will have it, and the rest of us will leave our lives constantly on and available.
Do you think that debate's ever going to come up in the next couple of years with privacy, whether we have too much?
It's already going on. I mean, you've had that, the whole debate, with the national security thing, with the government's fighting on it, companies are fighting on it all the time as well. If you shop at Amazon, they keep all your data. If you're on Facebook, they keep all your data. So, and we're giving them our data voluntarily without even having a second thought about it. So maybe it's already a done deal. Like the Google guy says, it's pretty much, it's over already before it's out. Or you have some organization like the Electronic Frontier Foundation saying, no, not yet, and it's worth fighting for to retain some, either retain control of our own data, because it's us, our identity, etc. And some privacy, it shouldn't be just the prerogative of the few and everybody else has to live with no privacy.
And what specifically does the Electronic Frontier Association?
The Electronic Frontier Foundation, it's an advocacy group, and again, they're always monitoring, trying to prevent censorship of the internet, either from government or from large corporations, and also looking at what bills get passed into, data protection, copyright issues, etc. And basically trying to protect the rights of the public to keep their own data and not be spied upon, but also keeping the internet free from censorship.